Happy Thursday, U's fans. Welcome to the preview show. And on a week where it's not just a preview show, but a mini review show as well, it feels like the season is really up and running. I'm Julian Roberts, and today we're going to be looking back at Carabao action in Bristol and casting an eye on a big opportunity for 3 points at home this Saturday. To do that, I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Jordan Warland. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. I'm chuckling on the inside because you said happy Thursday again, which puts the onus on you.
It's a Thursday.
To get this pod out on a Thursday. I've had all sorts of messages in the past about whether the preview pod is officially called the Thursday pod or not. So
do you know,
you're stirring it up for me. I'm going to get in more trouble here.
In my head, it should be. It's a Friday morning release because I can't trust myself to always get it out on a Thursday night. But at the time of recording, it's a Thursday evening. So happy Friday, everyone, as well. When you're listening,
mate. We've just gone and won in Bristol. I think what was that sixth win against them out of 24 games. If that doesn't deserve a Thursday evening release, what does?
Maybe you're right, mate. And also, we've got so much to talk about, George. We've got your bullishness, which I can't wait to get on. We've got Harrogate, which obviously is sending shivers down everyone's spine. But we've also got a new sponsor, George, which you teased wonderfully on last week's pod. We've gone from a wine shop to a pub. We're staying on.
A lot of people were saying wine is great and as well, you know, and appreciate the well stocked beer fridge, but I want more than that. I want taps.
I need it on
we
tap.
Listened.
If there's anything we can deliver on,
running through those drinks.
If there's anything we can deliver on, it's that. We are delighted this season to be sponsored by the Old Spring, which is in town just by the river.
Great pub.
It's a great pub. Great pub. Do you know, it's funny, George? It's kind of come full circle because when I was younger, the Old Spring was the pub we'd go to for like a birthday in the family. Do you know what I mean? Like a nice dad's birthday, let's go to the Old Spring. But now, I mean, I wish that was the case now because the sponsorship deals that they've offered are amazing, right? So let me run you through them, George. There's 3 things you can get out of this sponsorship. A Matchday Meal Deal. So before every Cambridge United home or away game, you can get £15 Matchday Meal Deal, which is a burger, fish and chips, or skepasti, which is an amazing, they've got a Greek kitchen. It's like a Greek quesadilla. If you imagine like a gyros, but in a quesadilla, it's so good. I actually had one on Friday. It was amazing. Plus any beer. So you can get...
Was that the deal breaker before you agreed to the sponsorship? You're like, I've got to try this. Do you know what? Don't tell me if it's gyros or gyros. Just let me taste it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know if it's Thursday or Friday or gyros or gyros, mate. That's only the first of 3, George. You can't interrupt me there. Oh. So before any game, home or away, you can go in there and get £15 for burger, fish and chips or skepasti and a beer. Great deal. Gets even better. Every Saturday after the game, 5:30 till 6:30 p.m. No matter if United are playing or not, it's half price beers. Saturday happy hour. And if it's
drown
not
those sorrows,
if it's not a match day, you want to go down with your pal and you just want to have a nice meal and some food, you can get 10% off any time. Obviously, you can't use these in conjunction, but you can get 10% off any day of the week for your meal, for beers. All you've got to do is show them your season ticket at United or a match ticket for one of the next home games. And it's as simple as that, George. It is honestly an amazing offer, though. Thank you so much to the guys at the Old Spring because it's a really generous offer. And think about the day you could have, George. Before the game, £15, get a little chicken burger or a halloumi skepasti and a beer. And then go walk down to the ground, lovely like half-hour walk down the river.
Walk it off, yeah.
Walk off that skepasti. Have a nice beer in the ground, watch your game, nice win, go back, either drown the sorrows, I guess, or I was going for a more celebratory angle. And have
the bullishness is rising, so yeah, definitely.
It is. Have some half-price beers between 5:30 and 6:30. What do you think, Jord?
I think I'd wake up the next day feeling great, so I'd just head there again to get a 10% off the next meal. It's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant. I didn't think anything could top the news of TS12, The Life of a Showgirl, out October 3rd. But this has done it. Taylor Swift's just releasing one album. You've got 3 different offers on here.
I do trust you to be, of all the UTAS members, the person to bring up Taylor Swift's new album.
Had to get it in somewhere, mate.
And
That's the other sponsorship I'm trying to angle.
yeah. Now the details of that sponsorship, because obviously there's three different things, is going to be up on their website by the time this comes out, either Thursday night or Friday morning. Um, and so you can go and read up about it. But basically, it's a match day meal before the game, happy hour after the game, or 10% off any day of the week. Um, you can use it this Saturday, Jord, and it's such a shame you're not around because the UTAS boys are doing a little meetup. You could have been there to answer everyone's Taylor Swift questions, but instead they've got to speak to Tom Walker about Ryan Loft.
I'll be, I'll be there in spirit. It sounds like it's going to be a great little afternoon, topped off with 3 points at home against Harrogate. So yeah,
Hopefully.
do get on down there.
Yeah, we're doing a little meetup. So everyone except Jord is going to be down there. Me, Tom, Swindle, and Matt Caspel, along with the part owner of United, Mark Green. We'll be there between roughly 12 and 2. We'll probably be enjoying a match day meal and a beer or two. So come down, say hello. Let's have a chat about Ryan Loft. And it'd be great to meet some listeners. So get down there between 12 and 2 on Saturday. And we'll have a few beers at our new sponsors.
There'll be a special table just for the nutters as well.
Yeah. They'll be sort of like they'll be like front and center of the pub. Amazing, Jord. Look at that. We've run through all the sponsorship stuff.
What a terrific sponsor. Very excited to have them on board. Thanks again to the brilliant King Street Cellar for last year.
Yeah. You still get
I
10% off in there as well.
Still get 10% off there. Just a reminder, they have paid.
Yes,
not
thanks. Yeah.
do not boycott them.
Yeah.
And no, it's excited. Do you know what? Like without going off on too much of a tangent, but I really like the Old Spring pub, and it's quite a fun part of town now. Like sort of Chesterton Road, Mitcham's Corner, lots of other food options there. So yeah, it's a good little spot to head to, and a lot closer to the ground than you think.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. So you can enjoy all those great offers. Well, look, we're in a great mood, obviously, because of the sponsorship, but we're also in a bit of a good mood, I think, just in general. Nice positive musings after 3 games. I mean, Saturday aside, I thought you guys covered it really well, but Tuesday was kind of the perfect tonic, wasn't it? Feel like there's been a bit of a pep in everyone's step kind of the past couple of days after Tuesday's win. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think a response was needed. And what better response to conceding 3 poor goals than to keep a clean sheet? What better response to have sort of 5 people coming in to making their first starts for the season, heavily rotated, starting lineup, but still put in a really good performance. The to answer the question that's in the running order, which is a little bit of a loaded question because you've been sent graphs on this topic, but my bullishness is rising. I know. Look, you need to be waiting 5 to 10 games before you start making conclusions and things like that. But I feel like there's been a good chunk in these first 3 games, and I'm including the Swindon game there where we lost, which has, I don't know, upgraded my opinion on how the season's going to pan out. Upgraded my opinion to think we'll be a little bit more competitive and might be closer to the playoffs than I originally said. What did I say? Like 11th pre-season, and you were 12th. So yeah, look, could age terribly, of course, and there'll be people screaming at this saying, it's too early to say, it's too early to say. But yeah, I think there's enough in the last 3 games, both within our squad and then also sort of some wider elements as well, which have made me feel confident. So, 2 clean sheets out of 3, 5 goals from the 3 games, two goals from your new striker, a goal from your sub striker, good performances around the pitch. Yeah, there's just lots there. There's lots to influence the bullishness.
It's funny how Tuesday night's game kind of went from being no one can be bothered with this, including Neil Harris, who quite openly after the Swindon game said, it's not our focus, this competition. He was really like, it just clearly was so low down his priority list. Long journey on a Tuesday night against a fellow league rival who were expected to be strong. I mean, we'll come on to what we thought about them in a second, but expected to be a good side. So kind of think it's a lose-lose situation. But actually, I think after Saturday, it has been that perfect tonic to get straight back out there and sort of right those wrongs. Harris kind of kind of felt like he challenged the players a little bit. Keeps talking about, that's not my sort of teams, and it felt like there was a bit of a he was trying to sort of set a precedent for what he expects of players and raise those standards. Matt Ramsey wrote a good piece on the website this week for Coconut Tier members about a combination of different quotes that he's put together from different interviews with Harris this season about how the standards that he expects might actually be like the biggest thing that goes in our favour. And I think on Tuesday night we kind of saw that instantly, how quickly those wrongs from Saturday were righted. No, because he said in the presser just before the Harrogate game, he said the quote is, "It took us to another level mood wise." Do you think that confidence might actually be something that Tuesday night might turn out to be really important in just raising that confidence in the team and in the fans?
Yeah, he talks a lot about Monday being a learning day, and they sat down, they had a meeting.
What was the word he used to describe it? It wasn't passionate. It was like, oh, there's a word. It was an interesting word he used. It was very
Oh, I can't remember the word that he used, but he definitely said something along the lines of, they saw a different side to me. They know where they stand. So maybe it's, maybe the summer has been all sort of nicey, and then Monday was, look, this is business. We need to be honest, and we need to talk to you about standards and what we are and aren't going to, stand for and allow this season. And it's weird, isn't it? Like, obviously, losing to Swindon on Saturday was hugely disappointing, hugely frustrating. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes there is like a merit in losing, and you sort of understand a little bit more about yourselves from it. And I think Swindon definitely, highlighted some big issues that we've had. So yeah, good to see that that's addressed, and obviously not fully resolved because it's only 3 games into the season, but good to see that the squad has the character to stand up for itself and has the character to respond. And yeah, perfect tonic to a disappointing Saturday is following it up with a win. Like you say, we all sort of went into that game expecting a heavily rotated team and expecting that to maybe mean quite a heavy defeat, or certainly a defeat. So the performance that we saw, the desire to win, and then some of the performances, you saw, people like Job and Bradshaw that look like they've been playing for sort of 10 games already. Yeah, just a really encouraging evening. Just nice to beat Bristol Rovers as well, right?
yeah.
I think it's important on this pod to air that here. After our sort of run-ins with their fans and having to do very long podcasts for them, it's just nice to get one over.
Also, it was, I put it in the newsletter, but it was Mamadou Joe played 90 minutes. The last time he started a game for us was at Bristol Rovers under Gary Monk when he got headbutted. So, yeah, that's an interesting little quirk. The other thing that kind of gave me a bit of confidence, to be honest, Jord, and I guess it's partly like a bit of an asterisk on the evening in that Bristol Rovers I thought was so poor for first half especially. They kind of came out a bit better second half, and we did soak up a bit of pressure. But first half especially, I thought they were really, really poor. But in a way, like seeing how their evening unfolded kind of gave me a little bit of extra confidence. It gives you a little bit of perspective in terms of after Saturday, it's easy to get a bit frustrated and annoyed that maybe we're not going to be quite at the level we want to be. But actually, it kind of gave me a little bit of a wake up call to, well, where's the standard in this division? I don't just mean on the pitch. After the game, Darryl Clark sat the team down. He did this quite kind of performative sort of gesture where he gave them a bit of a hairdryer on the pitch, like in front of their home end. And I guess that kind of gives me a bit of confidence as well, just that comparatively, it's like, well, we're actually probably in pretty decent nick. I mean, I know Harris can go off on one in a post-match, don't get me wrong. And I don't know, that's another thing for me, right, George? When you see another team that's in, another one that's come down with you that's much higher fancy than us in the state they're in now, I was just feeling a
Yeah.
bit like, well, maybe we are in a pretty good shape.
Sounds like you're taking joy in the misfortune of others, which is great.
Schadenfreude.
Which is great, great characteristic in a person.
Thanks, mate.
No, jokes aside. I mentioned a few moments ago about sort of external factors beyond the squad that are making me feel more confident and more bullish. And yeah, there's 2 elements there. One is, and caveat, this is 2-3 games into the league, so we've got a long way to go. But standard of league hasn't blown me away. Cheltenham came to defend and frustrate, and yet we were able to break them down. Swindon and Bristol were both fancy teams to be in the promotion picture. We've been able to score goals against them. We've been able to get victories. And honestly, if it wasn't for our poor defending and a moment of sort of 4 or 5 mad minutes, probably would have left Swindon with points. So that's one element. And then, yeah, the other one, I think you're right to mention the other relegated teams. Again, only a few games in, but you look at their starts, both in the league and in the cup, they've hardly hit the ground running. So you start thinking, well, maybe that is some sort of element or kudos needed to the likes of Harris and Bonner for their planning, what work they've done maybe at the end of last season, what work they've done in the summer, that we've got a squad together, got a squad fit, got a squad with specific new players or returning players, but also a squad with identity. And actually, that fast start isn't a fluke. It's due to some good work. And do you know what? Maybe that could be something that come the end of the season really benefits us, like having a positive start.
Yeah, definitely. Two performances I think we should talk about on Tuesday night in particular. First one is a debut for Zach Bradshaw, who I think, I mean, maybe not quite man of the match level, but I thought he was so solid, Jordan. I know we chatted about it in the week between us, but Harris equally praised him in the presser just now. Praised his athleticism, his calming performance. Called it a long term project. Still things he needs to learn. 6 to 12 months he mentioned, but also feels like he's got the trust to drop him in tomorrow. So I think it sounds like I guess we've moaned about our strength in depth before and thought that that's where our weakness is, and I'd probably still argue that going forward it's where we might get found out at points. You know, when it gets tricky in October, November, if we don't recruit some more depth. But here's maybe the opposite example of, well, if that's your backup left back slash an option at centre half, playing that solidly on his debut as a young player, maybe there is a good amount of depth, no?
Yeah, I think he had a very good evening on Tuesday, Zach Bradshaw. I wasn't surprised to see Watts keep his place. I would at some point like to see Bradshaw alongside Morrow in as the two centre backs
Or
in that
Job,
or
very
Job,
young,
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
young, but
So I would like to see some sort of experiment, some experimenting to see where Bradshaw is best in this squad. But on Tuesday specifically, very good first impression, very good debut. I liked that he had pretty quick feet about him. I think he did specifically. I think he did really well, specifically against the higher, quicker press when Bristol Rovers did it. They didn't do it all night, but first half, they sort of opening 20, 30 minutes, they were pressing quite high, quite hard, and he dealt with it really well. Sort of stroking the ball around, didn't panic, was able to pick out passes. So yeah, on Tuesday, really encouraging performance. What I find interesting about Bradshaw and a few other names in the squad is it feels like the the recruitment strategy is to recruit sort of flexibility, so players that can play in numerous positions. We've got a couple of those that were already in the squad. People like Brophy and Kachunga can play more than one position, but it looks like some of the additions they brought in this summer fit into that mold as well. And I guess you could sort of spin it two ways. Like there is one way, which is sort of a very positive one, which you were just talking about, and one which personally I would agree to. I guess if you wanted a counter argument, though, what's that old saying about a jack of all crafts but a master of none? Do you want someone as your left back that is a terrific left back and not sort of a left wing back converted to a left back or a centre back converted? So I think that's probably been overly negative, but yeah, it does look like we've got a lot of options in most areas of the pitch. Where I don't think we have the options, Julian, and this was highlighted on Tuesday night when you see Liam Bennett playing as an attacking midfielder winger, is that is that rotation and that support for the front four. Another start for Apre, great goal, great finish. But you do wonder if he can start every game. Is he going to run himself into the ground? Do you risk sort of knackering or injuring a player that had a lot of last season out injured? So I know they're looking to find a striker, but I think they also need to be looking for sort of other attacking mid winger options as well, because I'm not sure Liam Bennett as my second choice right winger is
Yeah.
one that is going to get us promoted.
No, I agree. And I mean, Kai as well, having to do what 60 minutes or whatever it was on Tuesday night isn't ideal. Like, so he got a bit of history of like getting little injuries, so it's not ideal. And I'm not saying that we're like done. The squad's done. I guess it's just an example of we've been critical of the strength and depth, but maybe in certain positions, Bradshaw kind of proved that if he's your deputy, then you're not in bad nick in at least in that left back position. And I think the same on the other side. I think James Gibbons is a player I've definitely criticised before in this podcast and thought he didn't bring much to squads or especially if you're starting James Gibbons. But I just thought he played really well. I thought you saw a different side to. It's such a different type of right back to Liam Bennett, isn't he? Like his defensive capabilities are a whole other tier. Obviously, going forward, you saw him take a shot first half, and you think, don't bother, James. But he played really well. I thought. Would you start him Saturday?
Captain's armband as well on Tuesday.
Yeah, good point. Good shout. Yeah.
Mention for that. So the sort of leadership qualities there. I think we just have to also mention how would you be feeling as a Bristol Rovers fan, sort of
Yeah.
late on Tuesday night when one player that you've slagged off crosses the ball in to an excellent deft header from a player that you've slagged off even more. You'd be feeling pretty sick by the sight of that.
To be honest, George,
Moment.
I've slagged off both those players myself, so I know exactly how they feel.
But to come back to your question, it's just going to be a story that runs and runs. You know, who do you start at right back? Is it Gibbons for the being solid, or is it Bennett for the attacking options? And to be honest, I don't see an issue with the swapping or the rotating between the two of them. You know, we'll talk about Harrogate in more detail later, but they're probably going to sit in and do a Cheltenham. So we're going to need to be able to find more ways of getting at them and attacking. So it makes sense to bring Bennett back in. And I think Harris has spoken about this before. The squad mentality that he wants and the culture at the club that he wants is we're all in it together. And just because you play really well one game doesn't necessarily mean you're going to start the next game. It's about, it's about the greater good. It's about the approach to getting the result. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gibbons drops out on Saturday, personally.
Yeah, I think you're probably right because if we're going to have a lot of the ball, you want people who can unlock tight defences, and Bennett is a bit more that sort of player. But it's horses for courses, isn't it? It's maybe like in hindsight, Gibbons probably should have played against Swindon, and again, maybe that's what Tuesday night taught us, and we just develop the knowledge of your squad and which races to run different players in. Quick mention for Lofty. Got to have a quick mention for Lofty, haven't we?
Positive words only on Lofty.
Oh yeah,
for maybe two pods in a row. I think I saw on the socials someone questioned why
yeah, saw that.
Caswell and I were so positive about Lofty after the Swindon game, which to be fair is right. There were some calamitous moments from him, but yeah, good on Ryan Loft. You know, he's like we were just saying, he's probably had a lot of stick from Bristol Rovers, so it must have felt good to go there and stick one in the net. And
also, jokes aside, I mean, we joke about him a lot, but seeing a striker score, someone who is on a 4-year deal, I know we joke about that, but like seeing that guy score, hopefully a lot of it is confidence and he can just build up better steam.
What I liked about the second goal on Tuesday is it's one of those goals that you look at and actually it's probably better than you're giving it credit for. Yes, it was a loose clearance that Gibbons picks up, but it's a good swinging cross into the box, a dangerous area. Cliche alert, it's a difficult one to defend, and Loft's movements, his running to get in and sort of goes through sort of a marker was perfect. And I mentioned deft header, it was lovely, just sort of landing in the corner there. So it was a really good accomplished finish in my mind. And I read this on the message board earlier, so I'll put it to you, Julian. There's a world where you could spin the argument that your sub striker's got one goal from 3 sub appearances. That's a good return. That's a good ratio. So yeah, very positive to have another striker on the score sheet on Tuesday.
Love that, Jord. So yeah, very positive evening, and obviously there was a bit of excitement going on. Who can we get in the next round? And that was very firmly squashed on Wednesday night. Drawing
of all the London teams, mate.
I know.
I sat there thinking like Brentford, Fulham, West Ham, all in the hat. But no, Charlton,
Millwall. I know we've done that before, but could have been a laugh. Harris did have a little chuckle about this. He chuckled about his rivalry with Charlton, which I think stretches back obviously to the Millwall days. But I'm pretty sure. Do you remember this? I'm pretty sure his first game for us was at the Valley,
It
but I
was
think his
indeed.
first game for Cardiff as manager was also there, and maybe even for Millwall. He's got this strange relationship with them, and their fan base always seem to sort of cross over. But he's very positive about Nathan Jones. He used the term Jord free hit, which I just think I'd love him to be a listener and that to be a little sly insight.
He's lucky I'm on the panel today for this pod, Julian, because there are certain potential panelists that you could have had that would have been livid at the term free hit. No
No
such
such
thing,
thing. No such
etc.,
thing.
etc.
Quite
Um,
a few United players though coming back. Nibsy,
former.
obviously, latest. Yeah, coming back. Yeah, I think that's.
Famously, all those good players are no longer our players.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I thought that was just assumed. Yeah. So it's Jones, Nibs, and that is that it?
Mannion,
Oh,
Mannion,
Mannion. Yeah,
Berry.
yeah, yeah. Well, there you go. Uh,
Gassan went out on loan, I think. Is he at Bolton now? Did that happen?
I don't know if it actually happened or not, but I'd be
Or was he
surprised.
available? Was he
He didn't.
available?
He didn't play a single minute of their pre-season, I don't think. So I'm not sure if he'll get on.
You sure he
Uh,
didn't go to? You sure he didn't go to Bolton?
that was the rumor I saw, but I thought they were buying him. You'll be able to tell me now while you look it up, and I can
Just quick Wikipedia search.
quickly.
Uh, no, it's not. It's
No,
not. It's
no.
still around. So yeah, he might be there. He might get some minutes. If they rotate.
Oh, you never know. Maybe
What was
it's
that?
again
Six? It's like six former United players against us there potentially.
another opportunity to try snap him up. You never know. Right. Anyway, that's enough Carabao talk. Let's go on to Harrogate, shall we? George, you did us the pleasure of doing a preview with the Harrogate fan Neil.
Right then, news fans, it's time to find out a little bit more about Saturday's visitors to the Cladara. Joining us on behalf of Harrogate, it's Neil. Evening, Neil.
Good evening to you.
Thanks for finding the time to talk to us. Interesting to find out a little bit more about Harrogate Town because for Cambridge fans, the only thing we know about you guys is a certain 5-4 result from when we were last in League Two. Tell me a little bit about the start to your season then, because 4 points is a pretty good return. And then it's made even better when you look at the teams that you've played. So Bristol Rovers tipped by many to be in the hunt for promotion this year, and Grimsby tipped by quite a few people to be dark horses as well. So you must be happy with 4 points.
Very happy to be in eighth place, way above 12th place. Those smaller clubs down there. That's you. But no, I think you're absolutely right. You look at the teams that we've started against. We were expecting very little, if I'm being totally honest. The Bristol result was a huge surprise. I think since then, I don't think they've done particularly well in their subsequent games. So it might be a case of Harrogate went wonderful. It was Bristol Rovers were pretty naff. Moving on from that, we had the Grimsby game. We had the audacity to be 3-1 ahead with not an awful lot to go. And then, we conspired to throw it all away. To your Grimsby fan, I think they were all essentially saying that's payback because this same game, the previous season, they were 2-0 up with not very long to go, and we pegged them back to get a point as well. So I think all in all, very happy to get 4 points after those games. We played in the League Cup last night. That was less favourable, but yeah, they are a league above, and they showed it. And we did feel the weakened team.
Yeah, 3-1 up, two late goals, a 92nd minute equaliser. That must feel a bit like a defeat on the balance of things.
Absolutely. Again, before the game, if somebody said you can have a point against Grimsby Town, and as you kind of alluded to, they're going to be up there in the mix, I think, come the end of the season. But yeah, when you're 3-1 up and looking good as well, it was a bit of a heartbreak moment. They brought in some quality players off the bench. We sat too deep. I think we made some personnel changes as well that didn't do us any favours. So I think there's a lot of learning for Simon Weaver to be done out of that game. Yes, we got a point out of it, but I think what he's learned about how he sets up, how his in-game management works, will serve him well for the rest of the season.
I'm just looking at it now, all 6 goals in the second half as well. So it sounds like Harrogate still have that knack for being in high-scoring games. So that should be exciting come Saturday. Tell us a little bit about hopes and dreams and expectations for the season ahead? What's the feeling at Harrogate Town? What do you think the fan base is expecting from the season?
Yeah, I think. I mean, if I start, I think what my perception of what other fans think of Harrogate Town, we are perennial favourites to go down. You know, Newport, Accrington, Cheltenham. There's a few clubs that are banded around all the time that's going to go down. I think after seeing the first couple of games, your Harrogate fan now is far more optimistic, more buoyant about the rest of the season. I think we've demonstrated that we can play decent football. We demonstrated against Bristol Rovers that we can be compact at the back. And I think just more overall, the squad, I was saying to somebody at the Lincoln game last night, the squad this season seems to have a more depth than it has done for any of the other previous seasons. So I think there's room for optimism. However, we've got to temper that with the fact that we've got one of the smallest budgets in the league, one of the smallest grounds. And I think our ceiling currently isn't that much higher from where we are, really. So I would have thought we would have been very happy if we finished somewhere towards upper mid-table.
Tell me a little bit about the man in charge. Then you mentioned his name, Simon Weaver. What's his philosophy? What's his style of football that he's got Harrogate playing?
Well, yeah, for those who don't know, Simon Weaver is the longest serving manager out of the 92, and he's in the rather unique position of having his dad as the chairman. So, you know, there might be a correlation between the two. I don't know, but he's certainly done a very good job. And I think people do kind of sometimes in jest say that he's only got the job or has been in the job for as long as he has because of that relationship with his father. Probably unkind, probably unfair. He's served us well and steered us into Division 2, and he's kept us there. In terms of his football, I would say he's conservative with a small c. He likes to keep it compact and tight, and often our defensive strength is perhaps at the expense of our attacking flair. I think at times when Harrogate first got into Division 2, he was perhaps hesitant to make changes in game. But as the years go by, I think as his tenure in League Two and his experience broadens, his management in the game now is definitely getting better. He's more prepared to make changes, more radical changes, and a lot sooner as well. So no, he's a fan's favourite. I think the vast majority of our fans would totally back him every time.
Neil, how do you reckon he's going to approach the game on Saturday? Do you think he's going to sort of draw some comparisons to what worked so well against Bristol on the opening weekend? Sort of, I think you mentioned keeping it compact. Is that what you're expecting on Saturday?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's no doubt in the fact that you will be favourites. I mean, I've already had a look at the odds before this call. Like we're 3.5 to 1 to win. So the bookies fancy you far more than ourselves. I fully expect him to set up, conservatively, be prepared to give away possession. I wouldn't be surprised if you have upwards of 65% of the possession, and we will play on the break. His formation will likely be 4 at the back, then 2 holding midfielders, and then 3, and then just 1 up front. He will play on the breakaway, and he will rely on that speed and, I suppose, perhaps impatience of Cambridge. The more we keep it at 0-0, the more you will press forward, the more, I suppose, that will fall into his plan of we will break away and aim to score.
Imagine you're on Neil Harris's scouting team for a second. Where do you reckon in the Harrogate squad might be the key men for success on Saturday, whether that be going forward or at the back? Who are names for us to keep an eye on as potential influencers in the game?
Yeah, I mean, the first name that springs to mind is James Belshaw. He's our goalkeeper, and I don't think I'd be too out of line if I said he's one of the best goalkeepers in League Two. He single-handedly, over many seasons, kept us in games and saved us more points than I care to remember. He's an exceptional keeper. So he's the first person. I think Anthony O'Connor at centre half, experienced, totally dominant in the air. He's a vital cog. I'm saying this and I'm kind of smiling to myself as I said it, because the third and final goal that went in for Grimsby, he got burned for pace by their striker, and being honest, I've been cynical. I think he probably should have just hacked the striker down and stopped him from scoring. But maybe we're cut from different cloth. But yeah, he's certainly an important part of the defensive unit. I think more offensively minded. There are a couple of players. There is Ellis Taylor, who we got in from Sunderland, who generally plays out on the right hand side. Left footer, wonderful left peg, very good on set pieces, very tricky. A new signing, Reece Smith from Maidenhead. He's played every game from the start. He'll probably sit in the number 10 role. Again, hairband, long hair, looks very jazzy, but he cuts the mustard on the pitch as well. And then finally up front, I fully expect Sean Mikulski to start the game. We started the very first game against Bristol Rovers with Mason Bennett, formerly of Derby County of Burton. He went off injured in that game, is likely to be out. So Sean Mikulski is another signing from Maidenhead. He must be a nudge over 6 foot, but very strong, holds the ball up very well, very quick. And the early signs of him are totally positive. So they'd be the guys I'd be suggesting to my fellow Neil to keep an eye
on. Reassure Cambridge fans listening to this. Brendan Kiernan is no longer at the club, correct?
This is true. This is true. He's done his damage in 2021. He's got no more pain to inflict on you.
Right. Final question, Neil. How do you see Saturday panning out? What's your predictions for the game, both in terms of how it's going to play out and also a score prediction as well?
I think at the start of the season, my worry was that we weren't going to score goals. We weren't going to score enough. We've scored 4 in 2 games in the league, so that doesn't seem so bad at all. That said, I think you're going to be formidable opposition. I don't want to call it out and say that we're going to lose. I just don't think that's right. However, I think we're in for a game. So I'm going to really boringly predict a 1-1 draw. And if that were the case, I'd be a happy guy.
Neil, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for speaking to us.
No worries at all. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you, Neil, for that insight. George, how was that? What is the feeling like from their end ahead of Saturday?
The feeling their end ahead of Saturday, Neil didn't mention it when we spoke, but sort of afterwards, he was sort of saying, look, I think we'll lose on Saturday. I think, there's an element of, sort of fortune went their way a little bit against Grimsby and Bristol Rovers, and that just can't keep continuing. But yeah, they're it's positive there. And Neil Harris was really positive about Harrogate as well in the press about how much they've achieved, size of the club, size of the catchment area, the budget, and so forth. And Harrogate have had a good start to the season, getting it. Well, I guess they'll be disappointed with the Grimsby result, given that they were 3-1 up going into the last sort of 10, 15 minutes or so. But to pick up 4 points from Bristol Rovers away and a game against Grimsby, 2 of the fancied teams, naturally Neil is feeling pretty happy, pretty confident, and yeah, is hoping that they can sort of kick on a little bit this year and maybe have a more comfortable finish to the season.
They're quite an amazing story, really, aren't they, George? When you try and sort of take the fact that we're going to play them out of it and we need all 3 points. Just the idea that they've been in League Two a couple of seasons now. No, they've been in League Two a while, haven't they? What? How many seasons have they done now? I mean, we played them in
famously 5 years ago. So yeah,
5 years ago, and that will be the first time, right? So they've done 5 years up there. They've got the longest serving manager in the EFL in Simon Weaver, who took over in 2009. I'm not sure what division they were in when he took over, but he's brought them into the EFL for the first ever time. Do you think we need to be a bit careful to not underestimate them? Like, obviously, they've got a lot of budgetary restrictions, but especially early on in the season, we've been that team ourselves in League One who people underestimate a little bit and just think that they'll roll over, especially away from home. But do you think we need to be a bit careful here? Because as much as there might be a bit of fortune to those results, there is still, we've spoken about Bristol Rovers, so it's not like they're the most impressive team, but they are still pretty decent results on the face of it, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Cambridge United fans won't be underestimating Harrogate, but from a player perspective and the coaching staff and all involved on Saturday,
I thought we were going to get away with not mentioning it, but yeah.
I think they'll be very wary of Harrogate on Saturday. I think if you look back at that Cheltenham game, it took a while before we ground out some opportunities late on in the first half. We were wasteful. We were wasteful again in the second half. So I think the setup and the team will be mindful that if they're wasteful again on Saturday like they were against Cheltenham, or they don't get their noses in front, then it could be a difficult afternoon. And actually, it could be a team that punishes on the break. Neil spoke about the options they have, sort of, on the break and the pace and so forth. So yeah, it could be a challenging one on Saturday if we don't if we don't stick to it, and if we don't I don't know, if we don't get ahead early. I think that early goal is going to be crucial.
Yeah, I agree. Sort of want to settle the nerves. God, wouldn't it be amazing to just get an early goal, settle all the nerves? Sounds a bit like we're talking about cup tie, doesn't it? A little bit, which I guess is what I mean about underestimating them a little bit, because I think they will fancy themselves, and that underdog sort of badge is something that can motivate teams quite a lot, right? Harris said in his presser it's going to be a bit more like Cheltenham. We need to be good with the ball, we need to be physical. I think they'll give us a lot of the ball and be happy for us to have it. Players like, I imagine, Knight, Bennett, that we spoke about earlier, players that can unlock teams, Kai obviously. Run through a few things from the presser quickly. No injuries from Tuesday. He's very pleased with our identity with and without the ball, despite the 5 changes. He praised Shane McLaughlin quite a lot. McLovin, sorry.
McLovin, yeah, I found that one interesting because I was rewatching the highlights in prep for the pod, and it was McLaughlin who sort of intercepted the ball, nice calm pass to Sully, Iniesta, Kai, who set up the first goal. Had a good afternoon. He's a name that I've not noticed too much this season, which I guess is a negative thing, but I certainly know a lot of United fans and fellow UTAS members that have been pretty disappointed by the fact they've not noticed McLaughlin and sort of how anonymous he's been. So yeah, good to see him get a good shift in on Tuesday night.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I was maybe one of them first week. I called him out a little bit. I just thought he looked a little bit rusty and a bit. I was expecting quite a tidy player, but maybe that's just early on in the season. You get a bit of.
Did you watch the presser? Because there was a really great story about similar in a way to when Wesley Houlihan came here on trial under Calderwood, and Harris was like, McLaughlin wasn't here on trial.
Yeah,
we were in for him. We were having discussions, but he's such a pro. He just wanted to come in and he wanted to train. And he wanted to get his head down. So it was never a trial as such. He was referred to as a trialist, but it was very much like us after him.
Well, and also it sounded like it was always going to happen. McLaughlin just was like, well, in the meantime, while we sort the contract out, I'll just play as a trialist in inverted commas. So lots
passion,
of there.
bit of passion there for the course. Love it.
I mean, I'll tell you who else he had.
What more do you want from your 4th choice central midfielder?
Yeah, correct. I mean, probably another good example of what you're talking about with Bradshaw, by the way, which is like if McLaughlin can play that well and he's your 4th choice centre mid, you're maybe not in a bad spot in at least that area of the pitch. Another player that we got to mention again that he praised again is Sully Kai. He's been involved in 4 of the 5 goals this season. I mean, Harris went a step further this time. He said he can't. What's the exact phrasing? He can't believe he's not playing in the Championship, or he could be playing in the Championship. I don't want to quote that because there is a difference there.
Yeah, my guy SK. I think he said something along the lines of, "I'm surprised he's not in the Championship." Then quickly backpedaled and said, "Oh, surprised he hasn't been in the Championship."
Yeah.
But I think the Cambridge Independent went with a headline of he thinks he's Championship level, which is maybe a slight stretch from what he was saying in the presser. But yeah, what a start to the season he's had. He's one of those names, one of those profiles that stayed in the squad and you hoped would relish the step down and would actually, step up to the plate and become a big player. Again, caveat that I've mentioned already on the pod, we were only a couple of games into the season, so a lot can change. But so far, he's doing exactly that. He's posing teams questions. He's good on the ball, gets us up pitch. He's involved in 4 of the 5 goals. I think you said that's a great stat. So yeah, really exciting player, and just hope that his body and his injuries don't disrupt what is potentially going to be a really exciting season for him.
I mean, we've said it before, but you must just love playing with the sort of confidence that Harris gives him, because you can just tell how loved he is by the boss. The other little things ahead of Saturday feels that Pelly Ruddock's close to being available, might even start Saturday. Same with Job as well. Both of them pretty
Yeah,
exciting.
it sounds like with Ruddock, he's getting close. I think one of the questions from the journalist was, is it how close is he getting to being a regular starter? And yeah, another good shift on Tuesday night. I thought, just giving us glimpses of what he's going to be like when he's fully match fit. I personally wouldn't rush him to start on Saturday. Maybe if you've got Don Ball and McLovin available, I'd probably do something similar to the Cheltenham game and bring Ruddock on sort
Yeah.
of part way through the second half.
Yeah, again, like we should have enough to beat Harrogate, really, if we're being honest. He also said no signings before Saturday. I don't know about you, but in the presser, Harris just seemed in like a particularly good mood. He was like joking around about the fact that like he got asked about any new signings in the building, and he said like, "Oh yeah, we signed Ronaldo," and then he said, "Oh, I'm actually just going to register myself," and it just seemed like he seemed very, very relaxed, which I don't know what I would expect. There's no reason for him to feel under pressure, but I've watched all the pressers, and he just seemed an extra little bit of relaxed, which again might go to what we're talking about at the top of the pod, that Tuesday might have just settled so many nerves, and he saw something in the team that he really needed to see that's given him a confidence, not even in the short term, but maybe in the mid-term throughout the season, that's given him a bit of a bounce. But that's a lot of conjecture just reading between the lines for a guy who made a little joke in an interview. But I don't know, did you
Mate,
spot it?
well, I think it's one of two things. It's either a win does wonders for the morale and for the squad, or number two, he's been down Chesterton Road to the Old Spring and tried one of those lovely chicken Greek gyroses that we were talking about,
Yeah,
or maybe both.
Skepasti, and he
Scapasti.
probably got his 10% off any time with his United season ticket or his contract, I imagine. What's his prediction, mate? I feel like it's actually kind of a not a big game. No game. 3 games into the season is big, but I kind of think like you win it and win it well. What it does for that bullishness will be pretty mega going into a difficult week of 2 away games.
I'm really torn on my prediction. There is a part of me that does feel like we'll get an early goal and we'll go on and we'll actually get quite a comfortable, not massive score, but like maybe like a 3-1, a 3-0.
Mm.
But then there's also a part of me that can actually see the opposite, and well, not the complete opposite, but like a very different afternoon where actually it is very physical, it is very tight, and we don't break them down, and it could be something as disappointing as like a 0-0. It's a hard one to call, this one.
Do you know, it reminds me of a
But
little bit. Do you remember when we played, I think it was Harris's first spell when we played Cheltenham and Burton at home, and I think we drew them both 0-0. Do you remember these 2 games? And Harris was here, and they were games that we obviously had to win in the context of League One, or it felt like we had to win them. And we drew them both 0-0. So I know what you mean. Like this, like, he can really make a game very. Obviously, the context is totally different, but he can make a game turgid like that, can't he?
it feels like, with the exception of that Carlisle away game, which was one of his last games,
Yeah.
when we've beat weaker teams, it's not always it's not always been pretty, like you're saying. It can be quite turgid, and it's never been big score lines. And then you look back at Cheltenham on the opening day, and I know you've got to consider it as the first game. There's lots of subs coming on and fitness and so forth, but we got ahead and then we sort of sat back and took the foot off the gas. So maybe there's a part of me that's being a bit of a dreamer, thinking that we're going to race to sort of a 3-0 lead. So I do think we'll win. I do think we'll win on Saturday. Lineup wise, I've got a feeling we might see the same 11 that started the Cheltenham home game, and it was the same lineup for Swindon away, wasn't it?
I agree with you. I think that'll be. I just don't think he'll want to rush Job or Ruddock back in for this, and they would be the two that I think he'd have an eye on making.
Yeah, and it'd be unfair on Bradshaw to drop out after having a good game as well.
Yeah,
I think we'll probably see a reverting back to the team that he's trusted so far for the league campaign.
I guess, yeah, also give them a bit of a chance to right their own wrongs as a team who started that Swindon game. My score prediction, by the way, is 1-0 United. I do also agree that we'll win. I think we'll have too much for them, but I think it will be like a late penalty or something like that. I think it might be like, I don't even know who take our pens, by the way.
Well, I was just going to say, my other prediction for Saturday is I think we're going to see a Ben Knight goal, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Knight's on set pieces.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Just looking who else is in the team.
I'm not sure there's many.
Is he on pins?
I don't know if he's ever taken them. Catch, maybe? I don't. Again, I'm not sure. Anyway, look, we shall see if I'm correct. Let's wrap that up, George, because this episode of the Thursday/Friday preview show is getting quite lengthy now. Obviously, remember, we'll see you if you're up for it. Come for a beer. Pre-game Saturday, we're going to be at our new sponsors, the Old Spring. I'll do a little post on socials for the offers you can get.
It feels like an unveiling. I feel like there's going to be photos there of like someone holding a shirt, or
it's retro shirt day, George. So
someone holding a scarf up, and it's lots of handshaking.
It's retro shirt day. And we'll do it the old Brian Robson way, when he was unveiled as player manager with the blazer on the top half and the shorts on the bottom half. I think that'd
great
be
reference.
Yeah. But yeah, come down. We'll be there 12 till 2 with Mark Green, the part owner. Come for a beer. Come and enjoy the lovely offers that the Old Spring has delivered for us. Obviously, do go and be a Coconut Tier member. You get feature articles every week, bonus pod content every month. We've got a mailbag episode coming soon, and we've got some merch dropping soon as well. You'll get first dibs on that. And also, you just won't be around Dodger. So you can sign up to the Coconut Tier over on undertheabbeystand.com. George, I think that's all the plugs. We're full of it.
So many plugs there. So many plugs. Is there like a forum or something like that we need to plug? Who knows? Another time.
That's for another time. There's too many things.
But yeah, gutted to be missing out on Saturday. Have a great time in my stead, everyone. Don't have too much fun. I don't want to miss out.
No, we won't mention Taylor Swift's new album, I promise.